Guten Tag, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the Märklin Outsider, episode 14. We're going to have a probably very short episode today as a follow-up to several of the last episodes. And one of the things I just want to talk about is when you look at these videos, it can overwhelm. That's why I go long in each video, but try to not throw too much detail in, because the information when you first get into model trains in the modern era, and by modern era I don't mean modeling the modern era, I mean you have not seen model trains like me for 40 some years and all of a sudden you get into the hobby. What's out there is overwhelming. And if you're like me into European trains in the United States, there's not a lot of resources. And everybody says, go to the internet, Google it. People like me hate that answer, Google it. We know we can Google it. The problem is when we Google it, there's 10,000 pages of information. You get 10,000 different opinions or views, and none of them may be exactly what you're looking for. And so the Google it answer is not helpful. Join a forum. Yes, forums are great. I subscribe to 3 of them. But again, they're not always helpful. Sometimes you ask a question and some old timer comes in and says, "Oh, you idiot, everybody should know this." And they actually scare some people away. And I'm not the only one. I have talked to people at train shows and online, and people are communicating with me through Facebook that have seen my videos, and they say the same thing. Yeah, when I got into the hobbies, I tried to join the local club, and the local club was just not very friendly, or I joined this forum and I get dismissed because I'm asking questions they consider too basic or juvenile to answer. On the flip side, sometimes you get the one person who wants to help, but you're asking how to glue 2 pieces together, and they're telling you how to build the Eiffel Tower. And that's not helpful either. What I wanted to share with you is that if you want to go into Märklin, there are some resources to help you, and I wanted to share just a few of these resources with you. Because, again, Märklin is a German company, and their audience is primarily Europe, especially Central Europe. The German-speaking countries, Scandinavia, down into Italy, into France, over into Eastern Europe, but Central Europe. There is a strong Märklin community in the United States, but we're scattered. Märklin even has a USA-based Facebook page and Twitter, Instagram, and they have an office. And Brenda Hensley, who runs Märklin USA, or is their communications director, but I think she runs, she's in charge. She's the one you talk to when you have an issue with Märklin and want to talk to somebody in English in the United States. They're very good people, but Märklin releases dozens of videos explaining how to use their product and new ideas, but they never release them in English, and Märklin USA does not translate them into English. And yes, I have friends, plural, asking me would I take their videos and translate them to English and then demonstrate what's going on. I can translate what they're saying. I understand what they're saying. But there is a gap between understanding what they're saying and understanding what they're doing. And then on top of that, it would be buying all the things they have in that video and setting it up someplace in my train room that I really don't have and trying to demo it myself. And that's a lot of time and investment I don't want to put into it. So my videos are really just like for beginners out there, just kind of showing you how to footstep your way through. There are a couple of resources, as I mentioned, that I do want to share with you. The first one is every beginner's startup kit comes with this booklet. I'll put that up there and you can see it rather than do a still picture. All right, you can see it's in multiple languages. It tells you what it is. It is a suggestion book. When you go through the pages, it shows some of the newer models for the year that this came out. So it'll say, hey, look, here's some new stuff we've got coming. It's got different model trains and so forth. Here you can even see the cars that came out for my ICE1. I bought these earlier this year. But every booklet has this. But what is also in this book is, in various languages, they have explanations, brief explanations on how their product works. The central station, the mobile station, but also they give you diagramming plans. I don't know if you can see that. They give you some ideas on how to wire things using their different products. That's for the better modelers than I am that really want to put a lot of detail, electronic detail, into their kit and using S83 and M83, M84 boxes and all that. And if you don't know what that means, I barely do myself, so you're not alone. But they have that. But they also have, and yeah, I'm coming through this on my own, they have pages that explain their track laying system. And this is in every startup kit that comes with train, track, and controller. If you buy just a startup train, it might not be in there. But if you buy a startup kit that has the trains, the track, and the controller, you get this booklet. But they tell you how their track algorithms work. So it's really cool that way. All the different turnouts and how you set up different things. But also, they will give you suggested layouts. So they're really nice in a way that you can get this in your startup kits. They even tell you how to build layouts, and if you look here, they give you suggested ideas on what to use with some of the starter kits and how to add track, and just give you some simple track run ideas. Of course, they'll also show pictures showing that layout in full feature. But they really show you how to do different simple, basic layout designs that are still very cool, and then what you could add to make it a realistic layout. They even will give you, again, I apologize, they give you a parts list. This is how many you'll need of each of these parts to do this layout. And they put that in all of these. It's very cool. They give you many variations of how to set it up. This is a great resource. You just don't necessarily have this available at your local train shop, but you can actually get these either on eBay, or if you're going to start in Märklin trains, you can get this in a startup kit. So that's the first resource. The big resource, if you want to know everything and can go at your own pace, is this book. This book is printed in many languages. You can order this from Märklin. You can order this from American train shops, Canadian train shops, Mexican train shops, Australian train shops. You can get this. In the United States, this was $20, $19.99. Let's just call it 20, okay? And this explains how to integrate your entire Märklin system. This is probably the primary resource book. This has everything that is in that startup kit pamphlet that I was just showing you a few seconds ago. It's this, but massively expanded. It explains how to do things, including your Central Station 3, but this is Märklin's official book on how to run a digital train system. This is their official book. It is almost 200 pages. Lots of diagrams, lots of bright, colorful illustrations telling you everything, how to integrate it with your computer, how to digitally control a system, everything you could want to know, sample layouts again, but this is really how to completely digitize your system. So this is the primary resource. The final resource might be as important as that previous resource, but you can't buy it anywhere. You have to download it. This. Boring, right? Because this is a store-bought 59-cent plastic cover. What's inside is important. What's inside is the official user's manual for the Central Station 3. Yeah, you don't even get one when you buy a Central Station 3. They tell you, go to this webpage and download it. This is the official user's guide for the Central Station 3, and you print it up, or you can keep it as a PDF file on your computer if you don't want to waste the paper. I printed it up, but this is specifically how to use your Central Station 3, and I printed it backwards where the pages don't line up correctly. I'm actually someday going to print a new copy, but it's a waste of paper and ink, so I just suffer with it. But this goes through and explains your Central Station 3. That's a complaint many people have. Central Station 3, you buy the Central Station 3, but there is a small book inside of it, a pamphlet of like 6 pages that tells you how to set it up and how to get it going. But it doesn't really explain how to use it. Now, the book I was showing you, this Running Digitally with the Central Station 3, people say, hey, this is the user's manual. It is, but it's a much more detailed, much more advanced, and there's stuff that's not in this book that is in this downloadable manual. And I will I will put a link to this in English and German. And maybe I'll link some of the other languages or just link the main page. But I'll put a link to this on my website and down below. And if you want to download it or get it and read through it before you decide to invest in a Central Station 3. But this is the Bible, if you will, for Central Station 3, because this goes into details. It even gives you, I don't know if you can see this, but it gives you a list of all the different Märklin symbols for their locomotive operations, their modes of operation, and it explains everything more in a how-to and how to get started version than the book here, which basically assumes you already know what you're doing. So while the manual is not entirely in here, the manual is done for more of a beginner's market as opposed to that book, which is definitely for everybody, but definitely aimed at advanced users, even though it's called Getting Started Digitally. It assumes you have some knowledge, where the manual is, hey, here's how you use your CS3, and again, you progress through stages to learn more and more. I believe they're updating this because there's a lot more the Central Station 3 can now do that it didn't do when it first came out. I bought mine a year after they released it, and now there are newer, updated versions of it, but this explains it, and again, I will put a link below. All right, so anyhow, that's just some of the information I wanted to share with you. As I move further into the Märklin world, I'll begin showing you things. I haven't talked as much about it on this channel as I do on my other show. I do run Märklin trains, and I haven't shared my Märklin trains with you because I usually just say, go look at the other show. But I think in the next episode or two, whichever one, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my Märklin trains and maybe show you a little bit of operation with them as maybe it fits into where you're going. Next time I buy a Märklin train, I'll show you fully installing it both with the MS2 and the Central Station 3. I did a video on showing you a little bit on how to install a train, but this might be a little more detailed going through the motions with it. But I really don't know the next time I'm going to be buying a Märklin train or locomotive. Anyhow, with all that said, I'm going to say to everybody, Auf Wiedersehen and Tschüss. And until next time we're together, happy trains.